Hi everybody, I'm Jack Reeder with Future Pastimes. In this video I wanted to talk about a couple of Future Pastimes games that use something called the Letterpiece System. And those games are Wordsmith and Decipher. And the Letterpiece System is something that comes from an older Future Pastimes game from 1981 called Runes. But the basic premise is you can make all of the letters of the alphabet, at least the alphabet that most of us are familiar with, using a combination of four pieces, so four shapes. And those are a large blue curve, a narrower green curve, a long red straight piece, and a short yellow straight piece. And what that ends up giving you is all the letters of the alphabet. So you can see they're all composed of a combination of these shapes. So if you've got a long red and a short yellow, well, you have the makings for an A, but also an E or an F or an H or an I, possibly an R, whether or not you may not know if it has a short curve, depending on which game it is that you're playing. So to give you an idea for Wordsmith, this is a game where you're going to start off with a random assortment of the pieces, and it's a speed game. You're trying to see how many words you can come up with using the shapes that are in front of you. And you'll score more points if you have longer words, but you will lose points for leftover pieces that you don't use each time you form a word. And you'll do 3 relatively quick rounds of this as you're scoring points and making words. And each round you'll have a different assortment of pieces. And you can get additional pieces, but you roll the letter piece die, and you take the shape that you roll and add that to your pool of shapes. With Decipher, it's a slightly different thing, because what you're doing in this game is you're actually guessing a word that someone else has formed. So whoever the clue giver is, they're going to start by taking this little thing, and they're going to form a word using these tiles. And the tiles will tell you exactly which shapes that you're going to be using. You'll form this, and then you actually, this little thing, you close it and you flip it over, and then you create a little screen here, but it makes the words upside down, which helps you to give out the clues and understand which shapes are left. So you're going to be giving somebody clues by handing them one of the shapes. So you'll say, all right, this is one of the shapes from the word that I made. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to, first of all, guess where in the word that shape is going to go. So this is a 5-letter word. They might say, all right, does it go here? And if it does, then that piece will stay on the board there, and then the clue giver will give another piece of their choice from the word that they made to the next player. But if it doesn't, then what you do is you cover up that shape with a little point token. That lets everybody know that this first letter does not have that shape in it, but this is a point that the clue giver is going to score at the end of that round. And they'll score points if nobody can guess the word. And to start off with, nobody knows how many pieces are even in that word. They'll know how long the word is. So they say, yeah, it's a 5-letter word. But we don't know what the letters are, so we don't know what the pieces are. They're getting those pieces one at a time and trying to figure out where they go until you get down to the last 3 pieces. And that is what's called bonus mode, bonus round. And you say, all right, we're now down to 3 pieces, and I'm not going to give you a piece unless you let me, the clue giver, score 2 points. Then I give the next player the next piece. Now, at any point, somebody can guess the word, and they're going to use one of their guess tokens, which itself is worth points. And if they're correct, they'll keep it, and they'll get 5 points for guessing the word, and they'll get points for all of their guess tokens. You have 2 that you still have. But if you guess incorrectly, the clue giver gets those points from that guess token. So they can score a lot of points. So this has worked in rounds as well, where everyone gets a chance to be the clue giver. And when they're not the clue giver, they're going to be guessing. So it's a very different take on how you use those letter pieces. So if you're into word games, these are really interesting, because it's not just about coming up with words, but it's about coming up with letters and then making words with those letters. And recently, we actually did an online app called Letterpiece that you can go and you can play any time of day, and you're not limited to 1 word a day. It's letterpiece.com, and that's LTRPC.com. It's a free online app. It's going to look a lot like Wordle. It was definitely inspired by Wordle, but it has a kind of a different added layer of intrigue, if you will, to it, because it's not just about can you guess the word, but you have to guess the letters first. And the information that you get is whether or not the letters that you guess, because you still have to put in a word when you're guessing. And then let's say you use the word guess, and you'll find out if the first letter of the actual word has any of the letter pieces in common with the first letter of your guess word. So in the G. So with the G, you're looking at a blue and a yellow. So if the actual word has any of those pieces, this shape will light up. Otherwise it doesn't. So then you have, through a process of elimination, you know, not only does that letter not go there, but no letter that has that particular shape will go there either. So it's a very different way to try to decipher the word. So it's an interesting thing. I love the Letterpiece system. I think it's very innovative. It's really great old school future pastimes. There's probably one or two more games that we could come up with using the Letterpiece system. So let us know what you think of that system. If you've ever played any of the games that use it, go try out Letterpiece, the app, and see what you think of that. It's free, and you can play it all day long if you want. It's a very challenging, but very logical. It is absolutely easy to figure it out. Even in just a couple of guesses, you can often decipher, depending on what word you start off with, and how it matches up with the same pieces that are in the actual word you're trying to guess. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.